My grandmother was complicated. She had suffered through a lot of abuse in her own life, and she was not an easy woman to please. She was an easy woman to make seem pleased. Anything you gave her, she would seem happy about. But she would later become very angry and vengeful about it. I remember one Easter. This was probably about 2013, a couple of years before she passed away. She sat at home by the phone all day waiting for her children to call her for Easter, and they didn't. And she sat there looking sad and miserable and grumpy and angry and just lashing out every couple of minutes. I went to Walmart to get her a gift, thinking maybe she would feel better if she got a present for Easter. I got her a sun tea jar container. Sun tea it's tea that is made using the sun. The container is not a regular tea pot. It is special made to absorb the sun and steep your tea using just the power of the sun. It was Easter. I thought this would be good for her. We could set it up, take it outside, sit outside and watch the kids play with their Easter egg toys and stuff, and wait for the tea to brew, and maybe she would have a better afternoon. She was happy when she received it. I went to get a bath and get changed so that we could go outside and enjoy the outside. And she decided to make some tea in it. Not sun tea, regular tea. And when she poured the boiling tea into the pot, it shattered. And she got extremely upset with me because I bought her a faulty tea pitcher. And I tried to explain to her that it was a sun tea pitcher, that it could not handle the heat from the stove. You were supposed to leave it cold outside in the sun. She didn't get it. She screamed at me for about 20 minutes and then locked herself in her room crying that nobody cared about her and the only gift she got was broken. I went back and I bought her another sun tea pitcher, and I showed her how to use it, and she felt a little better. But she never really got over the fact that I bought her a broken tea pitcher, even though I never bought her a broken tea pitcher. She just didn't understand how to use it, and she was having such a bad day because her children were not acknowledging her existence yet again, that she wasn't able to look past the pain she was feeling to acknowledge what I was trying to do for her. That's the way it always was with us. She would get upset sitting and waiting for her children to acknowledge her, and I would do my best to make her feel like I was there and that she wasn't alone, and I was never enough because she wanted her children. Nothing I did would ever have been enough because I was not her children. And she wanted them to call her on her birthday, to call her on Easter, to call her on Christmas. And they didn't. Kathy went nearly a decade without sending my grandmother a card for the holidays. We went to visit her one day and she had a big stack of them up on top of the TV just collecting dust, laughing about how she just never got around to sending them out. Her mother sat home on every single holiday that she refused to send out a card. Every holiday, every card up there that Kathy laughed about not sending was a holiday that my grandmother sat by that phone in tears because her children did not communicate with her. And there was absolutely nothing I could do to make her feel better because she had me. 365 days a year she had me. She wanted her children, who did not want anything to do with her until they needed a place to come for vacation. The relationship between me and my grandmother was difficult. It was strained. She loved me. But in the end, I was the only one that she had. And when she had such a large family, I was not enough. I was never going to be enough for a woman who had 40 grandchildren at that time. One grandchild was never going to be enough to fill the emptiness in her heart from her massive family that didn't call her and didn't talk to her because she was always miserable. She was always miserable because her life had been so miserable and she couldn't pull out of it. There were days when she tried and she said, let's get dressed and go out to eat, and we'd go to Cracker Barrel or we'd go to Red Lobster or someplace, but it was always just for the day, and then when we'd get back home, we'd both just go back to our rooms and cry and be miserable and be lonely and feel like nobody in this world cared about us except each other. And then when she passed away, I found out that she didn't even really care about me, because everything she had always told me was a lie. She always told me that she loved me and that she would always take care of me, and she had left everything to me to make sure that I was taken care of because I was the only one that stayed. When everybody else stopped calling her and stopped sending her letters and stopped caring because she was so miserable, I was there. And she promised me that she would always be there for me, that she would always take care of me. She left everything to me. And then when she broke her hip and spent 5 weeks in the hospital before she passed away, and in those 5 weeks, her daughters stayed in her room and they got rid of the will. They got rid of the physical copies of it. They knew I didn't know where to find any other copies. I loved my grandmother, but I hated living with her. For the same reason that the majority of you hate being around me. Because she was miserable all the time. She was sad and lonely, and there was nothing anybody could do to fix it. When y'all come at me and say that I hated my grandmother, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. For years, my grandmother was all I had, and I was all she had. She had one daughter that called her regularly. Once a week, every Sunday night at 8 o'clock, the phone would ring. That was the one thing she got to look forward to, was her eldest daughter calling her once a week. And then one night, just after that phone call, she hung up, she stood up to put the phone on the receiver, and she lost her balance. And she broke her hip. And the family is accusing me of pushing her. It didn't happen. My Kathy says that, well, my mother never stumbled before. She never needed help before. She had a heart attack in 2013 that made it, she couldn't walk very far on her own. She had to go through physical therapy and learn how to walk again. She had walkers and she had an electronic mobile. There was, everybody in that apartment knew that she couldn't walk for very far. She couldn't walk backwards at all. After her heart attack, she found out that she couldn't walk backwards anymore. If she started to, she would fall. She could walk forwards if she went very slowly. She would not use her walker. When we went out, she held on to me because she said that it was more dignified to hold on to me than to hold on to a walker. None of you understand the relationship between me and my grandmother. You don't want to. You want to demonize me because of what my aunt has told you, but my aunt is a liar. My aunt is a liar. I'm not lying. I may be too mentally unwell to accept or believe everything, but I don't lie. I may re-spout lies that I have been told because I believe them. But that's not because I'm intentionally lying, it's because I've been lied to and I genuinely believe the lie that I've been told. I don't lie. My grandmother instilled very deep in me never to lie. I may not always understand what's happening, but I don't lie.